Hello, my dear children. Today we are going to learn another important part of literature. The lesson I've selected today is Baira and the Vulture Who Owned Fire, retold by Sean Taylor. Objective of the lesson is explore what is a legend in literature. What is a legend? Though legends are told true stories, they often contain supernatural, bizarre, or highly improbable elements. Types of legends include folk legends and urban legends. So basically, these are the stories that are being passed down from generation to generation about the beliefs of people and cultural, historical incidences that had happened over thousands of years ago. They can be true events and mostly the myths and miracles which people believe too. So, our lesson is also a great example of a legend because it describes an incident which people believe has happened in the past. Let's explore this amazing story. Take your textbook and turn to page number 35. Let's start reading. There was a time long, long ago when humans did not have fire. Only one animal had fire. That was the vulture, and it kept it under its wings. Can you imagine that? Human beings had to eat food raw or hang it up to dry in the sun. The humans wanted fire as well, but they could not think of a way to get it. They knew that vultures were proud to be the owners of fire. They knew vultures had quick wings and sharp claws. They knew that vultures were very crafty. But at that time, in a tribe called the Parintintin, there was a young Indian and his name was Baira. He was barely a man, but he was very brave and very clever. He said that as the earth, the water, and the sunshine had no owner, then fire should be for everyone too. So he gathered all the people of his tribe together. Then he told them his plan to steal fire from the vultures. The next day, first thing in the morning, Baira went into the forest and covered himself in dead leaves and maggots. He lay down on the ground and there he stayed. Imagine that lying there with maggots dancing all over you. But there he stayed, half hidden on the floor of the rainforest. Well, after a bit, he heard the zum, zum, zum. It was a blue fly. The blue fly buzzed and buzzed up above Baira. Then it flew off. And do you know where it went? Well, I tell you. It went to tell the vulture that there was a dead man lying on the forest floor. Now the vulture did not waste any time, did he? A dead man? He squawked. Yeah, let's go. So he called his wife, his son, his grandmother, his wife's grandfather, his brother-in-law, his cousin's great-grandmother, and his cousin's great-grandmother's nephew, and they all flew through the forest to eat the dead man lying on the forest floor. When they got there, the vulture lifted up its wing and set fire to a stick so that they could begin to cook Baira. A flame began to flicker brightly. Baira opened one eye but didn't move. He waited for exactly the right moment. He waited until the stick was burning strongly. Then he sprang up, snatched it, and started to run for his village. Well, that young man, he ran like the wind. He dodged between small trees. He leapt over pools of water. He ducked under vines. The vultures came flapping furiously after him. They squawked, they screeched, and they scratched at the air with their sharp claws. Baira tried to hide in a tree, but the vultures found him. So he ran through the thick forest where the vultures could not follow. At last, he found himself at the edge of the wide river, and to get back to his village, he had to cross it. How was he going to swim holding a burning stick? The river was too wide. So he called the green river snake. He shouted, "River snake, take the burning stick to the other side of the river and give fire to my tribe." Well, the river snake swam with the burning stick coiled in her tail. She headed for the middle of the river, but her scales were burning, turning brown. And that's why river snakes are brown to this day. "Someone help!" she called. "My scales are burning. I can't hold the fire any longer." So Baira called the prawn. "Prawn, take the burning stick to the other side of the river and give fire to my tribe." So the prawn swam balancing the burning stick on his whiskers. He nearly got to the middle of the river, but his tail was burning, turning pink. And that is why prawns are pink to this day. "Help! Help!" he called. "My tail is burning. I can't hold the fire any longer." So Baira called the Kururu frog. "Kururu frog, take the burning stick to the other side of the river and give fire to my tribe." So the Kururu frog swam with the burning stick in his mouth. The fire was burning its face, but it was nearly across the river, so it swam on. The people from Baira's tribe splashed into the water, took the burning stick, and held it up in the air. Well, there was a party that night, all right. The Parentintons celebrated for a whole week with songs and dances around a huge fire. And ever since that time, humans have had fire to cook their food and light their way in the night. Baira grew up to be the great hero of his tribe. And what about the Kururu frog? Well, because it was the one that finally got fire to the other side of the river, it became a magical animal. It became the only animal that can eat fireflies without burning its mouth. And you know, to this day, it is still the only one that can. This story takes us back to over thousands of years ago where people were hunting and drying their food in sun because they did not have fire, and the belief here is the vultures were keeping fire without giving to anybody. So the story tells us how a brave and a clever boy called Baira made a plan to get the fire from the vultures. And he is hiding in the forest and somehow successfully taking the fire and running like the wind to his village. But there he faces a problem. Why? He has to swim across a river. So he is asking for help from a river snake, from a prawn, and from a frog. The river snake is trying to help, but it's starting to get burnt. So the belief is the river snakes are still brown because it got burnt in the river while taking Baira's fire stick. Then the second animal is prawn. It says the prawns are still pink because the prawn was also carrying the fire stick in the whiskers, and it got burnt and it turned into pink. The last animal that helped Baira was a kurukuru frog, a special frog who can eat fireflies. How did he get these magical powers? Because according to the story, the kurukuru frog was the last animal to help Baira to get the fire into his village, and while he was doing it, his face got burnt. So, because he is a magical animal, it says that he is the only animal in the world who can eat fireflies without getting burnt. So all these are myths and beliefs, but it's written in a very beautiful and a creative way because this is a story of a legend, or we can call it a legend story. This is the objective, and we have explored how the legend stories are written in literature. Wasn't that an interesting story? So, as I said, Baira and the vulture who owned fire is another great example for a legend. I hope that you understood the meaning of a legend, and now I'm going to show you the features of a legend. Legends have a specific setting, a time, and a place. They often include beliefs and ideas of culture. They have flexible guidelines, so the story can be included with miracles or myths that are believed happened for real. These stories get passed down from generation to generation. Bigfoot, Robin Hood, Alibaba are some examples of legends. I have given you a small assessment just to check if you can remember our beautiful story. First question, what is a legend? As I explained you should be able to write the answer for this question. Second one, who is the main character of the story? You know the answer is Baira. Who owned fire in the ancient time? You know that people did not have fire, then who had it? Yes, the vultures. How did Baira prepare himself to get fire from the vultures? What did he do when he went to the forest? Because he was hiding in it. Yes, he covered himself in mud and dead leaves and maggots. Very good. Next question. Who told Vulture about Baira? When Baira was hiding under mud, somebody came making a noise, and he brought the message to the vultures saying that there is a dead man in the forest. Who was it? Very good, the blue fly. Sixth question, who else did vulture bring to eat the man? Now you know the vulture did not come along. He came with so many family members, and your answer should be very long to this question. Next question, where was the vulture keeping the fire? In the beginning of the story, it says us, where was it keeping the fire? Yes, under its wings. Why couldn't Baira go to the village after getting the fire? He successfully took the fire to the stick, But he could not take it to the village. Why was it? Yes, because he had to cross a wide river. Very good. Ninth question. Who helped him to do that? Not only one, there were three animals who helped him to do that. River snake, prawn, and kuru kuru frog. Good job. Last question. Write the beliefs of the people about what has happened to animals mentioned in the story. What is the answer for this? It is still believed that the river snake is brown because it got burnt in the river. Then the second animal, it is still believed that the prawn is pink because it also got burnt in the river. Third animal, kuru kuru frog, it is believed that it is the only animal who can eat fireflies without getting burnt because he is the only animal who successfully took fire into the village. Good job. You can copy these questions and answers in a paper. I hope you all enjoyed and understood this story. I'll meet you once again with an interesting story like this. Until then, stay safe.